People have done those things, you know. So, what point was this? It was point 17. So, there are, if we go on bringing children with and real stories and real informations, all of these things has an effect on them. They fear things that doesn't exist. As a child, I don't know, when I was 14 or 12, somebody took me to Dracula movie. I'm telling you, for a few years I was always afraid of darkness because I think Dracula will come. As soon as I became Baha'i, thanks to God, it just vanished everything. But what I'm trying to tell you that fearing of the thing is not real, well then let's just put it, you are screwed up. You have to fear snakes, germs, viruses that can kill you. You're not afraid of that. That's nothing. But you're afraid of, I don't know, some vampire, something that doesn't exist. So bad to create a real feeling, a real fear from something that doesn't exist. Could you see where I'm going with this? Well, you be the judge. You're smart. The mother in a good society that will come in the Baha'i government in future, they will be trained to become the center of information. Mothers are not teacher, but they are center of information because child comes. Mother has to have information about history, about geography, about all kind of very primitive knowledge she has to have. How many countries are in the world, how many continents are there. Those words are important because the child will have to deal with it in future, isn't it? So mom and dad, they have to know. But mother and father are not teachers. It's very, very important. If we become teacher, then we have a substitute. Then the children, they don't have mom and dad. They don't. You cannot teach anybody who is too close to you. They'll see you. Whatever you do, they do. There's no point to tell to a child you have to obey your dad when he sees his own dad is not obeying anybody. Why would you do that? Dad has to go and do the fasting, do praying. As Baha'u'llah says, obligatory prayer, fasting. But the child sees you're praying to God, says, my dad is, also obey somebody. Or the rules. Then when he sees it in action, he's going to accept and he's going to follow. Or he doesn't. But in either case, telling him this thing is absolutely outside of the question. It's not going to work. You're too close to talk. Don't talk of the person that is in front of you. He'll do it. Point 21 I've written is that as much as you can stop these do's and don'ts. You are not government. Family is not a government. Children are not working under the government. Don't tell them too much do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts is because you're failing. If you're bringing up right, automatically the child will do what you want him to do. Too much telling him do and don't and pressing his will in future, then everybody can force him to do things. There are two ways. Either he will raise against it, he's become a disobedient child, or he will learn that he has to listen to everybody. Child has willpower. His willpower has to grow when he wants to do something. Do not look at him as a child. Look at him as a human being that wants to learn in his own level. Shouting at children and telling him, Bob has forbidden these things very, very much. Shouting at the children is not even allowed. Hitting them is absolutely out of questions in the Baha'i faith. His Holiness the Bab in his book, he says that if you do this, you have to pay fine to God for punishing the children. Punishing means you failed in your duty. And telling them, don't do this, don't do that, shut up kids. It's because you're not doing your job. Do's and don'ts, it cuts the willpower of the child. He'll become submissive, subservient. I never said to my children, any time to do anything. Mother used to shout anyways. I never told them anything. They never done anything wrong, in my opinion. I don't remember anything. Maybe my daughter, one day, she took the crying and went right in the middle of my book. I have that book. That's all I remember. They never did anything wrong. But I never told them anything to do and don't. I was just with them. We became all one, together. Because for the children, everything has to be demonstrated. If it is your own child, there's no use to tell them anything. It's like osmosis pressure. From you to go in them, from them to come in you. When there's osmosis pressure, that means two people are very close. From the higher concentration, it goes to the lower concentration. They become the same. Gradually, their child will be filled up with who you are. Well, then act upon. Be responsible. You have a job to do. Well, there's a job, if you feel it that way. It's a chore, if you look at it as a responsibility. But it's all because of love that you're doing that. Okay. For example, I wanted to say something to my son. I tried it. Say, okay, this and that and that. But I would see that, okay, he said, all right, Dad. But he would not actually exactly remember to do that. But when I was discussing with a friend of mine or what the children should do, or this is what your child is to do, and we were discussing, I knew he's listening. He would absorb it a lot better. So instead of saying directly to somebody, talk to someone else about the same subject, he's exposed at his own will to the talk and the speech, and he will learn. He will know what you're saying. So, Persian, they say that they talk to the door so the wall can hear. That's a saying. Talk to the door so the wall can hear. So talk to your friends, to somebody else, and then you can see child comes in and sometimes it just interject inside and say something. Then you know he's just listening completely. So, of course, we could use movies. I have no problem with watching Spartacus as a movie, or Artificial Intelligence. There's a lot of other good movies that they're out there. They're not all these stories of Walt Disney necessarily, that a cow talks. Cows, they don't talk. Why should you have a movie in which the cow talks? Or a donkey speaks? It's not real. But the real stories of suffering, of joy, of love, how people can relate, communicate, distinguishing. So the moral of the story have to be said after the film and movie, some kind of a talk. What do you think, son? What do you think, daughter? They come and share their opinions. I myself love the comics, Classic Illustrated, because studying those things helped me anyways to know outside of Iran. But if you study the real history of the Baha'i faith, which is unknown, nobody does, of the suffering for love, for all of that, although it's violent sometimes, believe me, you make a superhuman being over your child. If a child grows up at age 10, 15, and he knows the Baha'i history, I guarantee you that's a $1 million child. Send him anywhere. He's going to succeed. Any damn things he touches. Because he's nurtured with reality, with the very essence of the truth. So, when the child comes from the school, during the school time, definitely keep 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Find time, I don't know. If dad can't mom, mom can't dad. Child has to say what happened in the school, so you know what's going on. watch out. If you do not come up with the knowledge, your child will learn it from other people. We learn by talking to us or us asking the questions. Parents should not talk so much. If they want child to hear something, parents they can talk with each other and the children they'll hear it. Expose them, not direct talk. But when child asks you the question, that is the time he wants to store the knowledge. You better have information about God, spirit, life after death, and all that. You do not have those things, you're going to go to learn from somebody else. At that day you quit parenting, your child is sharing and says, my mom and dad, I love them, but they're not as smart enough. So there he goes, learn somewhere else. It's very important. You have to have these things as a part of parenthood. Whenever a problem comes, in my opinion, we should apologize from the mistakes we have and accept apologies, always with reason. I apologize, I'm sorry is not good enough. So what happened exactly? He has to explain, well, I was doing this and that and that, or I don't know. You the same way. Then it is effective. But just sorry is not enough. Subduing, subordinating a kid is the worst thing that you can do to kids. You're killing his willpower. When children grow up to the age 15 and 16, that is when the degree will be issued for you as a parent. Would you failed or not? If your child is a good child, and you know what I mean, you have not failed your parenting. If it's a bad child, it's all from you. That day, you're going to get your degree at age 15 and 16. Degree is a failed parent or a past parent. It's up to you. So, and when they're older, children, matters like sex, things like that, the best is that you use other people to do the same thing for you. You use your brother to talk about those things to your son. You talk to your brother's child. There are relationships that does not allow this kind of a thing. We cannot get too intimate a certain relationship. Use others to say the same thing is more effective. So, respecting and loving your own parent is the key. It's the most important key to your children to have a relationship with you. If you do not do that, they will not be related to you. Okay? And if you disagree with the children, don't say, I disagree, don't do that. Why do you giving the result at the beginning of the talk? Just say, okay, all right, we want to do this or that or that. I'm your daddy, I'm your father. I have some input if you like to listen, to share my opinion. And just go and say, well, this is where it is, and this is what I think, this is what my age I've restored, and I'm giving free information to you. It's up to you now, son. What do you do? So, if you bring a proper reasoning, sound reasoning, there's no way to escape. But do not ask the children not to do because of you love me. Because of a love towards me, Daddy, don't smoke. Do not overburden them with their conscience. They are forced because to do it because your mom and dad are crying or this or that. That's very, very primitive. Do not do that. Never use the conscience of the child and you overpower him and push him to do something he doesn't want to do it. I bought a house. You know, the process of buying a house is hard. Because my son was supposed to come around the area to go to university. Then he said that there is a letter has come that they have outcasted you. They say you're the enemy of the Baha'i faith. And therefore I cannot come, Daddy. I said, son, I respect your opinion. I said, do you need me to explain anything? He said, not really. But either I'm a Baha'i or not. If I'm a Baha'i, based on my understanding of the Baha'i faith right now, I cannot talk to you. I said, that's fine, son. So the house and everything gone, I had to go sell it, and he never came. I didn't cut my relationship with my son because it's not right. He understood what he did. He was not dishonest. I couldn't ask him anything. Shaw Effendi says, if you push your children to follow your religion, then we are worse than other nations and other religion groups of the past. Never do that. You present it. Decisions are theirs. If you're a smart father and you're good, then they'll follow you. I mean, they don't follow you, they follow the truth. They come into the road of Baha'u'llah. But if they want to take time, respect it. Remember, decision making is what makes the man. If he can't decide on his own, because he's affected by others, this is the problem of the people today. When they say I, meaning a lot of things that the country, TV, religious, this and that, they implanted in his head. Mom and dad did. Religion did. Geography did. His color did. Culture did. There's nothing left for this man to have as input. Okay, this is 5%, it's me. I have to delete these things when we grow up. Rewrite the file independently who we are. This is the real meaning of the spiritual independence that is in the Baha'i faith. You know, we have to be spiritually independent, Baha'u'llah says. We should not inherit from other people their ideologies. You can inherit money, but don't inherit faith. You have to know what it is that you have. Very well. I think I've spoken enough, and I don't know. The economy was bad. As a result, I could do all these videos, and by my assessment, there won't be more than 15, 16 more that I have to say. Finishing this relationship and this project would be ended that way. So it's very difficult for me to be happy, because I've developed in 35 years an ability that I can change the whole nations. But at this point I cannot go further than this, or it creates division in the Baha'i faith, because universal laws of justice doesn't come along. I can't go start over everything. And quite honestly, there's not enough money and everything else. I talked to Baha'u'llah several times. He says that I came here, I gave you everything. You are the fruit, Abbas. Now you're talking to people. If they want changes, they will help you. If they do not want it, we're not imposing on them too. Let them learn it hard way. So I need help if something is going to happen. But I'm assuring you, I will not get anything from you. See you.